Hello, everyone. So, wow, The Masked Singer, Season 3, Episode 5. Did you know who the mouse was? Because I sure didn't. I had thought she was Deborah Winger, and then I was leaning toward kind of Tina Turner, but couldn't make her sound like her. So, but yeah, I was really surprised at who she actually was because I didn't think that she was near tall enough to be who she turned out to be. And a couple of things. Also, I wanted to start out saying I was like pretty much certain that Frog was T.I. I was all like saying Frog when I should have been saying T.I. and T.I. when I should have been saying Frog when I made my last video. That has totally completely changed. Now I'm thinking that Frog is Sean Astin. I'm right now just going to name who I think they are, and then I'm going to go back and explain why I think that. So stay, keep watching in order to find out why I think that Frog is Sean Astin. And my thought on Kitty right now is Anne Hathaway. A couple of other people she could possibly be, but I'm leaning heavily toward Anne Hathaway right now. And my thought on Taco is still Tony Bennett, which I will explain in a little bit why that is also. And my thoughts on Banana, I have two different people I'm thinking for Banana right now, mostly, which is still Billy Joe Armstrong, and the other one is Tommy Flanagan from Sons of Anarchy. And I'll explain all of that here in a minute. My dog Damon wants to sit on my lap today. He's like, I don't know, I'm not sure what his deal is right now, but anyway, so I guess I was thinking last night when I was thinking about making this video that I would start off with talking about Banana, because Banana, anyone who watched the episode knows, Banana sang Achy Breaky Heart, and there was the blue collar hint in there on episode 4 and on episode 5. He was like, get her done a couple of times, which is like still leaning toward the blue collar comedy type thing. Yet he's saying Achy Breaky Heart, which I feel like every member of the blue collar comedy tour would probably know that song by heart, and he forgot the words in a couple of spots on it, so he wasn't singing through the entire song. That made me afraid that he was going to be eliminated. I did feel like the two that performed the worst were Mouse and Banana, and I was like, no, I love Banana. I like his costume and his personality, and I really don't want him to get eliminated, so I was glad that he didn't get eliminated. Hush. Anyway, and of course he didn't get eliminated. There are a couple of other people that I'm leaning toward Banana being besides Tommy Flanagan and Billy Joe Armstrong, and those people are Rodney Carrington, because Rodney Carrington sometimes makes jokes along the line of the blue comedy stuff, and he has done blue collar work before, and he's like, it just seems to me like, he would spoof off of the blue collar comedy thing, though there are a couple of other people that might do that also. And also my thought on it is Bill Engvall. I feel like he probably knows the words to Achy Breaky Heart, but he also, like, whenever the blue collar comedy people are doing their comedy stuff, sometimes one of them will say something and Bill Engvall will be the one that goes, get her done, instead of Larry the Cable Guy, especially if it's Larry that's talking. So that made me go, well, it could still be Bill Engvall. But the clues this week for Banana, this dog. Anyway, the clues this week for Banana was that he said that he's still here, which leads to, like, maybe he took some time away, or maybe he doesn't feel like he's as popular as he once was or something. There was also something about Banana-archy, which is what kind of led me to the Sons of Anarchy thing. And of course it said something about banana management or something along that line. And there was a fruit bowl. There's been fruit in pretty much all of his things, which kind of made me think of someone that I had been thinking about earlier, because this person has some Fruit of the Loom shirts and has done commercials for Fruit of the Loom but I honestly don't think the singing voice is his, but it could be. But anyway, there were also cowboy boots, and they asked him their favorite subject in school, and he said his favorite subject was art, which is part of the reason that I'm still leaning toward Billy Joe Armstrong. I think that he would say, I think his favorite subject in school would probably have been art. And he, as we know, had like a breakdown and went into rehab or whatever it was a few years back. So he would definitely be, like, hey, I'm still here. The Banana Arky thing, like Green Day, when they first started singing, were kind of known for being an anarchist type group, though they have steered away from that. It's part of their history. And the management thing, like, he is one of the starters of Green Day, so he would be considered kind of a manager. The Fruit Bowl, I'm not sure where it comes in with him, and I had found several pictures of him wearing cowboy hats, so he possibly has worn cowboy boots, but I'm not sure about that. And of course, Tommy Flanagan has worn, he's been in a whole lot of movies and shows and stuff, and he's worn cowboy hats, cowboy boots. I'm not sure where the Fruit Bowl would fit in with him either, but he has been around for quite some time. That's kind of why I'm leaning away from Bill Engvall, or I almost said, or Larry the Cable Guy, or Rodney Carrington for him, though I was at one point thinking Ted Nugent, and he's the one that I said the voice doesn't seem right to me for him. But he is high energy. He would be like, I'm still here. He also, I guess, could be considered kind of an anarchist. Maybe he's more of an anarchist than Billy Joe Armstrong, now that I think about it. And he definitely wears cowboy hats and cowboy boots. So, and I don't know that he would know the words to Achy Breaky Heart either. So now that I think about it, I'm kind of leaning back toward Ted Nugent or Billy Joe Armstrong on Banana. And Taco, my sister told me that my niece thinks that he might be Tom Hanks because of the trolley clue, and Tom Hanks played for Mr. Rogers in the movie that they made about him. And I was like, hey, that's pretty good. I went to open up my clues that I had about Taco, and the first things that I saw, there was chef, trolley, anchor, and running. And I'm like, okay, well, Tom Hanks's dad was a chef, and they dropped the anchor on Forrest Gump whenever they were shrimping. And who runs better than Forrest Gump? I mean, let's get real, right? He totally runs. And then of course, the trolley one, I said, she said that he was in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. So that leans to he really could be Tom Hanks. Yeah, they showed hair pieces in this week's. The clues that I got for Taco from this week were that he said he used to be a hothead, but not so much anymore. And there was quite a bit of stuff about space. There was what appeared to be the Mardi Gras, but could have been referencing Las Vegas, like showgirly type, party type clues. And there were, I think I already said, hair pieces. And he said something about the world's largest tostada covered in cheese. And he was like stressing the word cheese. And when they asked him about his favorite subject, he said that he was always the class clown. So he is really goofy. And, that falls toward Tom Hanks also. But to me, his voice is very, very familiar. It's like I should totally know his voice. And the hairpiece thing, the Mardi Gras type stuff, leaning toward Vegas, perhaps the hothead thing. I don't really know that much about that one. I'm still leaning toward Tony Bennett for him, partly because of the height and everything. Like I said, I'm not sure that he used to be a hothead. He might have. He does wear toupees. That is known. He performs in Vegas. He is comical. But I'm not sure where the space thing really comes in with him, though I'm sure he has been in movies. I know he's been on some shows. I was about to say I left out a clue about him, but that's actually about Frog. But so anyway, so yeah, I'm still leaning toward Tony Bennett for Taco for those reasons. And I'm going to talk about Kitty last, I think. So Frog, I was thinking that Frog was pretty much definitely T.I., and now I'm thinking that Frog is probably Sean Astin. And there was something that I was intending to look up before I did this video and I forgot to look up. I know that Sean Astin was on an episode of NCIS. NCIS. Yeah. I was going to say I said that wrong, but no. But yeah, him and his brother were both on an episode of that. I didn't look up to see what the $106 thing might have to do with Sean Astin. As I said before, like the 106 thing, a lot of times I think of 106 in Park, and I know that T.I. was on that. Most celebrities were on 106 in Park when it was on at one point in time in their careers. Well, this week he had a basketball, and there was a thing about $19, like there was $19 on one side and Fame on the other side. And I didn't have a chance to really look into that. I'm thinking he could possibly be a basketball player whose number was 19, or he might have been in a basketball movie, which was something else I actually intended to look up before I made this video. I'm pretty sure that Sean Astin was in some movies where he played basketball. One, I think he was a basketball coach. And so I was going to look up and see if maybe his number in one of those was 19. And it's possible the person who is Frog was on one of the movies Fame or on the show Fame. I didn't really look into that either. I should have done a little bit more looking into stuff, I guess, before I made this. But Frog also seems to be pretty goofy. He said that his favorite class is PE. They showed some toy soldiers, and the word Prince was mentioned a couple of times, which apparently it was also in episode 4, but I didn't really notice that in that episode. So here are the reasons that I'm leaning toward Sean Astin for Frog now. He's about the right height that I think Frog is, which is between about I'm thinking like 5'8", 5'10". Sean Astin's 5'7", so that's pretty close to the same height. Toy Soldiers, there was a movie that was called Toy Soldiers, came out in, I believe, 1991, and both Sean Astin and Will Wheaton were in that movie. Will Wheaton, in my opinion, is too tall to be Frog, though I could be off on my heights because I totally didn't think that Mouse was tall enough to be Dionne Warwick, and she was. Anyway, and the Prince thing. Sean Astin did some voice acting for the animated show, The Tale of Prince Valiant. So that totally has me going toward the Prince thing. And now that I think about it, I was going to look up some stuff about Jake Gyllenhaal, though I don't think he's made a basketball movie. He seems to be in pretty good shape. The deal is with the CSI thing, for a while, he's done hip-hop, like he did 50 Cent this time. The Toy Soldiers thing had me for a little bit going, maybe it's Eminem. And then I was like, no, I don't feel like it's Eminem. I don't know. I don't feel like that's who it is because of some of the other clues, like the basketball and Prince thing and stuff. So, the CSI thing, like I said, had me thinking Gary Dordan, but I'm like, where do these other clues come in with Gary Dordan? And the CSI thing could simply be that it's someone who guest starred on CSI, and there are a lot of celebrities who have guest starred on CSI. So for me, that doesn't narrow it down a whole lot. Like I said, there was the basketball thing and the $19, so I'm thinking it could possibly actually be a basketball player. Though, in my opinion, he's a pretty good performer and sings well and dances well. So, Sean Astin has done like Broadway and stuff like that, so it could be him. Now, Jake Gyllenhaal was in the movie The Prince of Egypt, so I was going to look up some stuff on him, but I feel like he's too tall to be the Frog. So that leaves Kitty. Okay, I was thinking Kitty partly because of the fact that she had two different colored eyes was Kate Bosworth. I did discover, I Googled her and discovered that she has done a couple of song performances and she sings very well, in fact. However, now I'm not leaning toward it being her. Part of the reason for that is in the clues this week, Kitty said that, she enjoys sewing. There was a lot of fashion stuff that was shown. Kate Bosworth, of course, wears a lot of clothes, but I couldn't find anything about her actually sewing clothes. Anne Hathaway, as we all know, was in The Devil Wears Prada. She didn't, well, she might have sewed a little on that show, but it was very fashion oriented. And so that has me thinking about her. And it seems like she was in another movie where she made her own shoes, now that I think about it. And she did some sewing in that. And she also said she really enjoys sewing her own clothes for the family ball. And something about, like, let's make a modern dress, which had Ken Jeong thinking, maybe someone from Modern Family. But my thought was, a family ball, like Cinderella type thing. And, of course, Anne Hathaway was in Ella Enchanted, where she goes to a ball and she meets the prince. There was a red cape, and I cannot place the movie, but I'm almost certain that she was in a movie where she wore a red cape. And yes, I know that I was thinking Anne Hathaway for one of the characters last season, and I was wrong about that. But she also said something about transformations and regrouping. And Anne Hathaway was in the Transformers movies. I'm not 100% sure what the regroup thing would mean. The judges took it to mean like she's changing up the way that, like, the stuff that she's doing in her career. And I don't know what that would mean for Anne Hathaway because she's already done so much stuff. She has all sorts of movies that she's done, but maybe she's planning to do a series or something. That would be kind of regrouping. Maybe she's planning to do more singing. That would be regrouping, but also the fashion things and the fact that Kitty turned out to be Dionne Warwick, who is like 5'7", got me to thinking it possibly could be Paris Hilton also, but I don't know where a lot of the other clues would fit with her. Now, for her favorite class, Kitty said that her favorite class was English, and she said that she wrote her own. I had in my notes that she wrote her own sci-fi movies, but I'm almost certain that what she actually said was she wrote her own sci-fi novels. I don't know that Anne Hathaway has written any novels. So the regroup thing and the fashion thing had me kind of go, and sewing kind of had me going toward Gwen Stefani until I saw the transformations deal. And like I said, the family ball had me going more toward Anne Hathaway. And there was someone else that I was thinking for a little bit, but there are several actors and actresses who write little plays and stuff like that, and they're writing her own sci-fi movies. Made me think of Sigourney Weaver, who I had thought maybe Black Widow was for a while last season, but I don't think that the majority of the other clues fit her. I think it was Fluffy Gabriel Iglesias, I think it was, said Amanda Seyfried for Kitty because of the red cape. And she was also on Transformers. I'm not sure if he mentioned that or not. He probably did. But I don't know how the family ball thing would fit with her. It probably would, though, because she also has been in a lot of stuff. But and she is a great singer also, but I'm really leaning toward Anne Hathaway for Kitty. Again, I'm going to rewatch these. I thought about rewatching it last night, but it was rather late, and I live, there are people right beside me on the other side of my wall, so I didn't really want to watch it in the middle of the night again. But I'll rewatch it and see maybe some of the other hints or something. But let me know what your thoughts are, who you think people, the characters are, what you think about my opinions on who they are, who you think is going to be eliminated. I was totally wrong about that. I meant to say something at the first of the video about this. I had tried to predict the final 3 from this group, and I thought that Mouse would be one of those people. I figured that Kitty would get eliminated instead of Mouse. So now I'm not really sure. I'm thinking probably Banana, unless he steps up his game a lot in the next one, will unfortunately be the next one to go. Possibly Taco could be next to go. I don't know. This group, in my opinion, is really good. Could be Frog decides to pull something out that's, I'm thinking not so hip-hoppy, or something that, and maybe he won't perform as well at that. I don't know. But I look forward to seeing this next week's episode. I'm like, I wish it was already next Wednesday so I could see it and find out who someone else is. But anyway, have a good whatever time of day or night it is in your part of the world, and make a difference by doing something that matters. Subscribe, like my videos. I'll see you next time.